Among all the mystical stories of Zhuangzi, there is one that particularly attracts attention due to its uniqueness. This is the story of an immortal who attained the Tao, who in just 19 days and through 7 steps taught his disciple how to reach the realm of the Tao. What makes this story so fascinating? Why among the countless philosophies and thoughts of Taoism, is this story always particularly noticed by those interested in the Tao? Zhuangzi not only describes the disciple's cultivation path but also incorporates profound philosophies about the nature of life, birth and death, and the relationship between humans and nature and the Tao. The immortal in the story of Lu Yu clearly explained that cultivation is not just about learning knowledge but also about overcoming and forgetting worldly attachments. It is a journey from detaching from societal rules to merging with the heavenly Tao, a state no longer controlled by birth and death, joy and sorrow. But how can a person step beyond all those attachments? How to achieve absolute freedom in both mind and body? Zhuangzi's story is not merely a lesson about cultivation but also opens up big questions about the meaning of the Tao and how humans can live in harmony with the universe. Let's step into this journey and explore the profound lessons from that mysterious story. Could it be that we ourselves can also learn something from Lu Yu's 7 steps? The story begins with an old man named Nanbo Zikui, who accidentally encountered an immortal who had attained the Tao named Lu Yu. "You are already old. Why do you still look as young as a child?" "Because I have realized the Tao, and I have become a young person." "Because I have realized the Tao." "No, you are not the right person to learn the Tao." Why did Lu Yu assert that Nanbo Zikui was not suitable to learn the Tao? Lu Yu's answer certainly needs to be studied carefully. Although this story was told 2,000 years ago, there are still many mysteries that have not been answered. For example, who is Nanbo Zikui, who is the immortal Lu Yu, and who is Lu Yu's disciple Buliang Yu? These names are not recorded in other ancient documents. Some might think that these are just fictional characters, as Zhuangzi often made up stories to help us realize the Tao. However, scholars have deeply studied the story and discovered that the names of the characters in Zhuangzi's story were not chosen randomly. Each name hides a profound meaning. Some names have been decoded, but there are still many names that are not clearly understood, such as the name of the immortal Lu Yu. Some believe that Lu Yu has a vague connection with Nuwa and Dao. Because Lu Yu's disciple, Buliang Yu, is also not an ordinary person. The Buliang clan are descendants of the Yellow Emperor and are related to ancient magic, in which not everyone can become a sorcerer. They have the ability to communicate with heaven, earth, and spirits. This shows that Buliang Yu has extraordinary and unusual abilities. So why explain the names of Lu Yu and Buliang Yu? This is directly related to the story. Lu Yu once said that he had a disciple named Buliang Yu, who originally had innate talent but did not have the innate Tao. Conversely, there are those who have the innate Tao but do not have innate talent. Those with innate talent can easily learn the Tao, while ordinary people, even if they meet an immortal like Lu Yu, find it difficult to learn. The question is, what is innate talent, and what is the innate Tao? Most explanations about the innate Tao suggest that it is a state of enlightenment. But innate talent remains a concept that causes much debate. Some might misunderstand that Zhuangzi's meaning is completely opposed to learning. thinking that we should be like ignorant farmers planting melons in ancient times, easily deceived by others. Of course, this is completely incorrect. In today's era of knowledge explosion, how can one not learn? In fact, Zhuangzi's story will show that the immortal Lu Yu also read books and memorized them. Therefore, as humans, of course we need to learn. However, the profound meaning of Laozi and Zhuangzi lies in the fact that, after learning, there is an even more important step, which is to transcend understanding, transcend worldly wisdom, and undergo a transformation. Initially, humans learn to earn money, to achieve fame, to satisfy personal desires. But after learning enough, going through many experiences, perhaps they will realize that no matter how much knowledge and strategies they accumulate, they still cannot satisfy the endless desires of humans. Moreover, the more they learn and understand deeply, the more harm humans cause to themselves and others. The Tao Te Ching says, when wonders are excessive, calamity is unavoidable. The main meaning is, in the first half of life, we learn to live. But when entering the second half, we must learn to forget knowledge, forget wisdom, to return to the original essence, the life of the Tao. This is the transformation that Laozi and Zhuangzi often mentioned, and also the key to understanding the talent of becoming a sage. Zhuangzi once said a very famous phrase: "True men breathe from their heels, ordinary people only breathe up their throats." This implies that true men are those who have attained the Tao, breathing deeply and thoroughly. While ordinary people are bound by desires and narrow intellect, breathing shallowly only up to the throat. Not everyone can achieve detachment from the world. This is not something one can do just by walking, but depends on accumulating good karma from many past lives. Only then can one have the strong determination to step away from the worldly path and pursue a completely different one. Zhuangzi said that those without a mind of detachment, even if they meet immortals like Lu Yu teaching, cannot learn. The mortals will not force teach those with a talent to become sages, just as Buddha does not save those without affinity. This is the first heavenly secret the story intends to reveal. Therefore, those who read the Tao Te Ching and Zhuangzi, especially newcomers to Taoism, should not hastily declare that they have learned or practiced the Tao, because Taoist thought is completely opposite to secular thought. They are contradictory, and if you are not the right person, you may not only fail to learn Taoist wisdom but also face opposition and criticism. Now let's see how Lu Yu taught his disciple to cultivate the Tao through 7 realms. The story says that under Lu Yu's guidance, Bu Liang Yi took only 3 days to reach the realm beyond the world, 7 days to reach the realm beyond things, and 9 days to reach the realm beyond life. After passing the realm beyond life, Bu Liang Yi continued to reach higher realms like illumination, seen alone, boneless essence, and finally the realm of yin spirit, a mysterious state of neither birth nor death. The question arises, what are beyond the world, beyond things, and beyond life? What are the realms of illumination, seen alone, boneless essence, and yin spirit? Passing the realm beyond life is extremely important because once you surpass it, you reach the realm of illumination. Illumination here means like the dawn light shining across the land, representing that you have begun transforming from ordinary to sage, entering the Tao path. Although it is only the initial stage of uniting with the Tao, from then on, you will no longer need a teacher's guidance. You will naturally have the ability to continue cultivation and become a true sage. Surpassing the realm beyond life is not easy, as it is not only difficult but also a crucial step to reaching higher realms. This is why this step is extremely important. Work. In the next 6 stories, at least 4 directly address the issue of life and death. Zhuangzi's intention is clear. He wants to use these stories to help us surpass the realm beyond life. Let's start with the first story about beyond life. The story is about four friends, ZC, ZU, Zli, and Zli. These are not ordinary people. They are all true men, almost having attained the Tao. Among them, ZU fell seriously ill, and ZC came to visit him. When ZU saw his friend visiting, instead of being sad, he happily said, "How wonderful! The Creator is truly great." When we think of the Creator, many might associate it with God in Christianity. But in fact, over 2,000 years ago, Zhuangzi used the term Creator to refer to the Tao. ZU, while ill, was surprised and joyful to see his body transform. His spine bent like 5 bamboo tubes protruding. His chin tucked into his chest, shoulders higher than his head, and his acne. The yin and yang energies in his body were no longer balanced but instead in conflict. However, even though his body was so transformed, his mind remained completely at peace. ZU continued, "The Creator is truly amazing. He has transformed my body into this shape. But I do not feel troubled at all, only curious about how he will continue to transform me." He told Zishi that if in the future, the Creator transformed his left hand into a rooster, he would use it to crow in the morning. If his right hand turned into a bow, he would use it to shoot arrows. What Zhuangzi intended to convey here is that ordinary people fear or rejoice at the changes of fate. But those who have attained the Tao, like ZU, are not affected by those changes. They simply stand and observe how the Creator operates and enjoy that observation. Then, Zhuangzi provided deeper lessons through the words of ZU. He said that those who have attained the Tao always realize that when they receive anything, be it wealth, fame, love, or knowledge, they understand it is merely an opportunity that has come. And everything is given by the Tao, not a personal achievement. When they lose those things, they also see it as fate's arrangement and accept it calmly. This is precisely the mindset of the true person at Zhuangzi. If you wonder why one should view gains and losses as the arrangement of the heavenly Tao, those who have experienced life, perhaps at the age of 40, will understand this without much explanation. After successes or failures, people gradually realize that success does not come from personal excellence, but only from the right opportunity, and failure is also part of fate's play. Zhuangzi continued to emphasize that when you accept this, you will see that both sorrow and joy cannot affect you, and this state is profound and lasting. Complete liberation from all bonds, not letting emotions control you. This is the freedom or carefreeness that Zhuangzi referred to. However, the lesson goes even deeper. The last sentence of the passage, according to Zhuangzi, is the most valuable lesson for ordinary. If a person cannot liberate themselves, it means they are still bound by something. But remember, nothing can oppose the heavenly Tao for long. So why worry or be troubled? This saying contains extremely profound wisdom, yet it is very practical and applicable in daily life. So now, think about it. When you realize something is binding your soul, what will you do? Most people would think, if something is binding me, I must find a way to liberate myself, to cut it off. However, the method Zhuangzi proposed is completely different. He said that anything binding your soul can never surpass the heavenly Tao, and that is an eternal truth. Therefore, if what binds you cannot defeat the heavenly Tao, why should you fear or be annoyed by it? Zhuangzi's words may sound mystical, but look back at the difficulties you faced 5 or 10 years ago. Back then, there were problems that made you feel afraid, angry, or sad. But now, do those problems still bother you? The matters that once felt like the sky was falling, haven't they been naturally resolved by the heavenly Tao? Now think about current problems. debts, relationship issues, midlife crises, uncertainty about the future, or the fear of death. At every stage of life, there are things binding our souls that we cannot currently liberate from. And what do we usually do? We constantly think about those problems, trying to find solutions to cut them off. Monkey mind. They prevent us from focusing, make us regret the past and fear the future, stopping us from living in the present. When we try to push those negative thoughts out of our heads, we are actually feeding the monkeys. The more we try to discard them, the stronger the negative thoughts become, and the more they drain our spiritual energy. So how to liberate? Remember Zhuangzi's words. Nothing can defeat the heavenly Tao forever. So why worry? Let the heavenly Tao handle everything. This is precisely what Taoist practitioners often focus on during meditation. When distracting thoughts arise, they do not try to push them away. They simply sit there, observe them, let them come and go without interference. Just as Ziyu observed how the Creator transformed his body, no matter what he was turned into, he did not mind. Thus, Taoist practitioners, though they may seem to do nothing, are actually training the ability to not mind. Even things that disturb the soul. Hearing this, do you also feel a diffused joy? Therefore, please remember this teaching of Zhuangzi. We will continue with another story. This time, their character Zilai also fell ill, but the situation was even more serious. His breath grew increasingly short, and he was about to bid farewell. His wife had children gathered around, weeping in sorrow. Another friend named Zinni came to visit. Instead of comforting the family, Zinni entered and loudly spoke. Step aside, do not disturb the one undergoing transformation. This may seem rude, but it is the exact words of Zhuangzi. Zinni was not only rude, but also leaned against the door as if watching a performance. He said, "Oh heavens, the Creator is truly great. Let's see what he will turn Zilai into next. Will he transform him into a cane or a spear?" Meanwhile, Zilai, though near the brink of death, calmly replied, "Just as children must obey their parents, I too must follow the heavenly way." Born, grown, and then departed. And now is the time to rest. Returning to when Zilai passed away, Zhuangzi recounted that he died but then awakened. This implies that Zilai's mundane self died, but his true self, merged with the Tao, was awakened. Next, let's return to the story of the immortal Lu Yu and the realms beyond life and death. Immortal Lu Yu explained that the Tao is never born, nor does it ever die. The heavenly way can make all things multiply and develop. But the Tao itself has never been born, unlike the living beings in this world. We all undergo the process of birth and death, but the Tao does not. You say that the Tao does not exist? In fact, it governs the entire universe and our lives. The heavenly way is very wise. It keeps us constantly staying in a cycle of birth and death, in the cycle of happiness, but it itself is never born, nor is it ever destroyed. This is like a creator playing with beings caught in the cycle of reincarnation. Therefore, those who have attained the Tao have seen through all the tricks of. They step out of the rules of the world, no longer bound by anything. From there, they advance directly to a higher level at the Tao, neither born nor dying. You might say that the Tao has disappeared, no longer exists. But it seems to be present in a vague way, like a heavenly way. Always existing but not clearly visible, flowing freely with the Tao throughout heaven. The key point here is that escaping worldly rules is the key to the path of cultivation. When people think of Buddhism or Taoism, they immediately think of cultivation, abandoning all desires for fame and profit. This often makes them feel pressured. But in truth, the path to attain the Tao for genuine practitioners is to escape and ascend to another dimension where the heavenly way cannot affect them. Finally, Schwalbe said that when reaching the highest realm of neither birth nor death, merging with Adao. Hidden self. Hidden. While self symbolizes tranquility, this realm is not complete tranquility but must go through trials and disturbances before finally achieving peace. This is similar to the concept of the Big Bang. Initially, the universe was a quiet void. Then a disturbance occurred, leading to the Big Bang that created the universe. After that, the universe became increasingly chaotic. But over time, the chaos gradually, and the universe slowly returned to a state of... Finally, the universe returned to its... An eternal silence returned to the Tao. That is the story of Jade Tong teaching the Tao to his disciple. After listening, Mambo Zaikyu asked a very important question. The Immortal just told me how you taught your disciples to cultivate. But I want to ask, where did you learn the Tao? Who taught you? This is a profound question because earlier Jade Tong has said that Mambo Zaikyu did not have the talent of a sage, so you... in the way that Jade Tong's disciples have learned. Therefore, what Mambo Zaikyu just heard about Jade Tong's teaching process seemed useless to him. But importantly, Jade Tong admitted that he also did not have the talent of a sage, nor did he have about it. So how did Jade Tong learn the Tao? Jade Tong answered, I learned the Tao from Fu Nian Jizi. Fu Nian Jizi learned from Luo Song. Luo Song Jisung learned from Zhang. Zhang Ming learned from Wai Shu. Wai Shu learned from... Shu Yu learned from... Yu O learned from... San Ming learned from Chao Miao. And Chao Miao... Jade Tong only said this and that ended. So what is the meaning of this statement? To understand this statement, we need to carefully examine the names, because each name contains a profound meaning. Although many things remain unclear to this day, scholars have found some clues about the meaning of these names. In fact, the names not only represent levels of Tao cultivation, but also reflect the history of humanity. From Wu Zi, representing the initial state of the universe, before everything was formed. Do you know the meaning of the names that Jade Tong meant? If so, please share with us in the comments section. And now, goodbye and see you again.